Alright guys, this is now about the second week of April. I keep changing. I told you guys that I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on this truck skid. The other one I had worked with to where I got it to where I wanted it to be. This one is still a work in progress. But I think since the last time I did a video, I put a 90 up there. That is my supply hose. So I have the 90 coming out instead of it being looped up real tall and coming out. It's just a 90 coming out of the bulkhead. I got a female cam lock. End up going with a 510 gun. Got a new gun. Started my soft wash business. I started with one of these, and then the old one I had was failing. And I come to realize I think you can take this cap out right here and rebuild them, but I just got another one. So I am rocking with that. I've used it one time so far on a roof wash and a concrete cleaning, and I loved it. I really liked the ball valve because I could just crack it and go, but having the trigger on this was great. The only thing I don't like is there's nothing protecting the trigger except this lock. And for me, when I get done, I can't think to put that lock down every time. So a couple of times that day when I would go to set this down, I would end up setting it right on the trigger. You know, I know that sounds silly, but I would set it right on the trigger and it would go psh, and sometimes that little psh that pops out could go in some place you don't want it to. So so we got the 90 up there coming out of the bulkhead of the buffer tank, rocking a new soft wash gun. The downstream injector, this is my old hose. I bought a 3-way valve. I didn't realize this, which I'm going to see how long this lasts. I know the fresh rent said he got one of these that didn't last that long. I've used it on a couple of jobs so far and it worked great. And then I seen in a video of Jrod, he had one of these. I've been using one of these forever, and he just reduced it from a 1/2 inch down to a 1/4. That valve always ended up working. I think mine lasted for a year or two, and that was pulling, you know, a hot mix through it all the time. So got a 3-way valve. I was going to set it up to where it kind of looked like a T, and then I had one hose running to the buffer tank, but I just ran this hose just behind the water or behind the mix tank, just so I would know, just so it's out of the way. I already got a bunch of hose up here anyway, trying to make sure, you know, nothing ever drifts over and melts while I'm washing. But on this downstream injector, I have it. It is a 2.1 for a 3 to 5 gallon per minute machine. On these 3-way ball valves, your suction is this bottom one. I was putting it here and thinking that I could just cut it on and off, kind of like I did mine over there, but that really isn't the case. So when you get one of these, your suction line is here, and then this goes to my water. This, when I turn that, it goes to my wash tank. So, you know, my theory is when I pull mix with my downstream injector, it comes over to here and just sets. And it just sets and it just sets and it just sets until I use it again the next time, but never gets flushed out. Now granted, I've never had an issue with, I had my downstream injector quit working on me last year, but I think the ball was just stuck. But I ended up rebuilding it, get another one, you know, got a backup now. But now I can take, since I got my buffer tank, I can just take and flip it down to here, and I'll mark it probably somehow, you know, what's what, which I kind of know. The clear hose is the new one, that's the old one. But I can, when I get through washing, I can put my soap tip in my gun and turn it here, and it's going to pull water all the way through here and flush all that. So then I just have bleach staying here. Now it's going to end up eating these, you know, guts out eventually, but we'll just see, you know, how long that lasts. But yeah, it just stays here instead of staying at the injector, which I ain't gonna lie, the injector is just about as cheap as this thing, because I think this thing was like about 20 bucks. So kind of yin and yang, you know. What do? Do you just, you know, rebuild your injector? But my fear, and I'll tell you why, my fear was it was going to have, it was going to be leaking down into here and then leaking into my pump and then end up causing the pump to go bad. So that is why I chose to flush it. Okay, the next thing that has been added since the last video, also, I have some degreaser there and some degreaser back there. When I want to downstream with this hose here, I'll just pop this one off, stick it down into my jug, and downstream my mixture, and then when I'm done I can just hook it back up and have bleach. So that's a pretty good thing I have. Well, I got the other drop tube in the truck with the PVC pipe on it. Next thing is the last video I just had a hose, this hose here, I just had it opened up. There wasn't a hose there. So now anytime I need to wash my hands, which I could do it before I added the hose, but I added the hose to come down through here. It's 10 foot, way more than I need, but I wanted to just make sure I had plenty. But I had ended up buying this connector here at Rural King. Got this fitting at, it's just a 3/4 hose fitting. And then of course I got a 1/2 inch to a 3/4 cam lock. But when I'm using my soft wash pump, I can pull this right over here, hook it right into that right there, and flush. So right now, if I wanted to, I could hook that up, open the valve up, hook that up to my suction line there or there, whichever one I wanted to do, turn my pump on, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. But you know, if I want to, say I'm going to do a roof wash or a pre-treated driveway, I'm going to turn this valve down to here so it's pulling my straight 50-50 mix, that good green stuff there. It's pulling from here, going through the pump, coming out here, and then it's going to go up to the hose reel. But when I'm done and I want to flush it, all I have to do is hook up here, here, and then go. So that is what's so great about this. So just an update, a really quick update, and just stay tuned to see what all it is that we're going to end up having next.